Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another brand new Mattel Jurassic World release. This time we've got ourselves a new Crushivores figure, and it is a much larger version than the last Crushivores figure we had previously. The only Crushivores figure that I purchased was one of the smaller, tiny ones that are very Snap Squadish. This time we've got ourselves a pretty darn big Spinosaurus. Now it's not huge by Mattel standards, but by Crushivore standards, it's massive. But you can see the box art is pretty cool. We have kind of like a cage sort of setting where the Spinosaurus is breaking out of. You also have like some slime and stuff all over it here on the front of the packaging. And then over here you could see some images basically showing us that we have a breakout escape here with our Spinosaurus, as well as some information down here on what you can do with the set. And then if we turn it around, first of all, on the back, you can see another image of the little Spinosaurus that we have going on here, kind of like a baby Spino. And then on the back you can see some more images again of the Spinosaurus, of the set as a whole, and again the Crushivores logo, and also the fact that we have primal sand, cryo sludge, and dino droppings, which is pretty interesting. So let's pop this box open and check it out. So there almost seems to be layers here to this, because as you open it up, you take that initial box off, you can see we have like an inside area, which is actually really neat. You can see the entire inside has like a kind of a jungle sort of a setting going on in there. And then you have like this cage type of a gimmick here on the outside. If you look at it from the front, you can see the Spinosaurus here kind of contained within the cage, which is pretty cool. So we're going to continue to figure this out here, and we'll move on from there. You can kind of get a better look at everything, and it kind of like flattens out here into almost like a little play area, though there was saying something on the front of the box about the dinosaur breaking out. I don't know exactly how I was supposed to do that, so I'm pretty sure I screwed that part up, but we now have the Spinosaurus out at the very least, and he looks actually really cool. Like, definitely a really neat looking baby version of a Jurassic Park 3, kind of, sort of similar colors, kind of. Spinosaurus, he looks really, really neat, honestly. But on the inside, you can see we've got little things here, little like crates and stuff where stuff is kind of held within. And also we can see there is some dino droppings or something along those lines back there. So I'm going to try to remove all of that stuff as well, and then we'll check everything out from there. So we do have everything out, but I do want to take a minute and actually point out something that I didn't notice right out of the gate. I don't know if I'm just like way too fascinated by the Spinosaurus or what, but you can see this is almost pretty much a Jurassic Park 3 playset, because the entire diorama thing that we've got going on here with the inside of the box features the broken and destroyed airplane, which I would imagine is trying to replicate the Jurassic Park 3 airplane, as well as the entire setting and everything within that film. So that is super cool. Now I almost feel like I'm going to be sad to ditch this packaging because it's really, really neat looking. So then once we pull everything out, we are left with our super cool little Spinosaurus here. We also have some stuff in some really neat Jurassic World packaging. You can see it's kind of wrapped, almost like gift wrapped here, with red Jurassic World logos and, well, red packaging and white Jurassic World logos. And inside the first one, we actually have the sand that you would use to feed the dinosaur. We've also got this one, which seems to have something that's pretty small inside. I'm not too sure what it is. I did not rip apparently enough off of it. Let's just rip. Oh, it came flying out. Oh, there we go. It was our little human figure, and it's not focusing on him. There you go. As well as the phone. Look at that. The phone from Jurassic Park 3. So that's really, really cool. And you know, I almost just glanced over the fact that this is a Nash figure. So we have a Nash from Jurassic Park 3 figure. That is absolutely insane. And I'm kind of shocked that I didn't notice that right out of the gate. I actually don't even remember seeing this in any of the images previously. So like, talk about an awesome, awesome surprise. And what makes sense even more is the fact that it is Nash that we have here, because he's the one that the Spinosaurus pulls out of the airplane. He's actually flying the airplane. He is the person that has the phone, the satellite phone, and that's how the Spinosaurus gets the satellite phone in its stomach, which it later, you know, leaves a nice mess for the Ceratosaurus to come upon. But Again, this is pretty much just a Jurassic Park 3 set. It obviously is labeled as Jurassic World with the logo, but it's Jurassic Park 3 very clearly. But we also have what I would imagine is the Dino droppings. I'm pretty sure that's what that part is. We also have the little case here to form the Dino droppings. So we have to open this. There we go. And then we'll put the droppings in, smush that together, and then we'll check out our Dino poop, I guess. And then we've also got one final piece of the puzzle here. And I'm going to go ahead and say it's pretty obvious what we have in this one because you can kind of see the shape of it. So this would be the smaller Crushivore. So let me just open it quick. Yes, it absolutely is. And I can't remember which Crushivore I had from the set that I purchased, but I kind of feel like it might have been this one. I'm not too sure though. But again, with everything, we'll bring it all in here for just a minute. We'll take a look at everything that we've got. And there we go. We've got quite a bit here in this set to get through. Some pretty darn fun stuff overall. So without further ado, we're going to jump to a closer look and check out this very cool set from there. So when it comes to the closer look, there's not too much outside of the Spinosaurus that we need to take a closer look at, but we will, check that stuff out here very quickly anyway. But you can see the Spino looks really, really cool. Obviously very exaggerated. They clearly were not aiming to make a super screen accurate version of the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus with this set. It's just basically a really fun, exaggerated, stylized version, and I think it looks awesome. You can see the nostrils sculpted out. You can also see a lot of really nice looking skin texture, a lot of really nice looking scale detail on both the upper and lower jaw, all sorts of variation to the sizes of the scales as well. We've got some nice grayish tones for the body color, but you also have this red that follows along the jawline, leads up here into the snout, and then kind of leads back, circles around through the eye socket, and then leads back into the body, sort of reminiscent to the way that the Spinosaurus in Jurassic Park 3 is colored, fairly reminiscent to that. As you can see, we do have some really, really nicely sculpted teeth. Like, they all have a really nice, genuine, sharp look to them, which is a massive plus because, again, they're using this sort of softer material here, and the payoff with that is magnificent. Like, the teeth on these newer figures from Mattel just look so much better than anything that they've released in the past. You can see the teeth are painted with kind of like a light off-white or a light yellowish tone. We have a nice amount of detail on the inside of the mouth as well. Like, that's possibly one of the nicest sculpts that I've seen on the inside of a mouth of a Mattel figure. You can see the tongue sculpted out in here as well. Really nicely textured. You can even see, again, more really nice fine detail running up along the side of the tongue as well. That is super impressive, and it all has that nice pinkish tone with a nice gloss coat in there, giving it that kind of saliva-like look. That is super, super nicely done. The eye is painted with a green, just like you see in the film, given a nice slit-like pupil. Also, again, painted with a black, but also similar to the way you see it in the film. As you lead up here, you can see the sculpted detail of the top of the head also looks really good. As you lead back here into the neck, you start to pick up some osteoderms kind of following along the side of the neck of the dinosaur. You can also see all sorts of variation to the scales when you lead down the course of the neck. You've got some more of the red, and then it kind of breaks up here, has a little stripe, and then has a grayish tone overtake pretty much the entire neck of the Spino as you move down. You got a little articulation in the neck right here, but I think that's part of the action feature. As you move back, you can see the red reappears as it follows along the sail here, and then kind of leads down into the back of the dinosaur and just sort of like stripes and patterns down. We also have a little bit more of that as you lead out into the tail, but then it's gone after that point. But you can see the sail has a pretty decent looking sculpt to it as well. And one thing you might notice is the sail actually has articulation. So I think, yes, when you move the tail, the sail moves with it, which is kind of crazy. And as you can see, the neck also, again, showing you that neck articulation moves with the sail as well when you move it like that. Pretty cool. But as you move down, you've got some creasing in the skin right there. You also have a nicely sculpted arm. You can see the arm articulates forward and back pretty nicely. You can actually go all the way up if you wanted to. You've got some nice muscle definition. Again, nice scale detail leading down. As you lead down into the hand of the Spinosaurus, you've got some scoots moving down the fingers. And we have nicely sculpted nails that have kind of a genuine sharp look to them, but no paintwork for the nails, unfortunately. Though we do have painted nails for the feet, which is nice. But as you lead back into the stomach, you can kind of make out what I would think is an attempt to give us the rib cage a little bit. Let's see if we can, yes, we can move the leg back to give us a better look. We even have a little bit of a pot belly for the Spino right there. Moving into the thigh, you can see some larger scales up here at the top of the thigh as you move down. They become a little bit smaller, but you can also see the muscle definition really quite nicely. You've got the kneecap right there, as well as the calf muscle in the back of the leg. And as I already had kind of shown you, it has the ability to articulate the legs forward and back, a little bit jerky, kind of stiff, but it does articulate. You also have swivel ankles like you often have from Mattel. You've got some very nicely sculpted feet, obviously a bit larger than they probably should be, and that's not all that uncommon with Mattel figures, especially when you get these exaggerated dinosaurs. They almost always have the larger feet, but you can see some scoots moving down the toes. Again, the nails are painted with a grayish tone, which looks really nice. And we do have dew claws, but as per usual, they are unpainted. And then as you lead up here, you've got a few more skin wrinkles. Again, we have really vibrant scale detail moving out. You've got the button right there to activate the action feature as far as I think the jaw snapping action feature goes. And then you lead out, you have a little curve to the tail here leading toward the dinosaur's right. The tail is very small, obviously. And even though this is basically an exaggerated version of the Jurassic Park 3 Spino, I think it nicely resembles a baby version of the Jurassic Park 3 Spino. On the underside, you have a very different style of skin texture moving along, which also looks honestly equally as nice as what we see on the upper side of the dinosaur. If you turn it around, everything's going to look pretty much the same over here as what we had seen on the initial side. And outside of the legs, again, being in a slightly different position, but I don't really see much of anything else that's going to differ on this side. The tail does curve toward us, but I think that's really about it when it comes to this really cool Spino. Then we've got this little piece here that is basically like a wooden crate. You can see there's a Jurassic World logo here on it. You've got a few slashes in it. It's like a wooden crate, and then up here you have a little area to kind of create like almost a piece of chicken to go with the bone if you use the sand, and you can create basically like a little bone to feed your dinosaur. You would use, of course, this sand right here, which we will open in just a moment. We also, again, have the phone, the satellite phone, which actually has kind of decent detail to it for what it is, just like a really fun little extra. Mattel even did a pretty good job of adding detail into that. And then, of course, Nash is awesome when it comes to him being included. You can see it actually, in goofy fashion, has captured the likeness of him a little bit. He's got some pretty nicely painted but very large eyes. You can see his hair is also painted. And then he's got the vest on, as well as his shirt and pants sculpted out all really nicely. And even again, for such a small little figure like this, they've added some nice wrinkles and creases to his clothing, added some nice realism to him, and obviously sculpted out his shoes and everything pretty nicely. There's no articulation or anything for Nash at all. He is just like a totally stagnant figure in a running pose, but just the entire fact that we have a Nash figure is super cool. Gives me hope that maybe at some point Mattel will create some sets featuring the other members and the other parts of the cast of Jurassic Park 3. And there definitely are some that we really could use. But then you've also again got the dino droppings case here that you would open up. Let me see if I can remember how to open it. Yeah, you open it up like that to put the dino droppings in, which I would imagine is what we have here in this package. And then we've got the other Crushivores figure here that's included. It looks like we've got a little T-Rex in here, a green one, and again, he looks pretty fun. But we've got to pop him out before we can really take a look at him. But again, lots of really fun stuff in this set. So we brought in the outer cardboard packaging for this, and you can see we've got the bone and the shovel, which I actually didn't show previously. And to get our dinosaur out, you basically need to just scrape a little bit, I think, off of the top here, so that you can basically try to convince the dinosaur to come out of the top. And then you crush him. And let me see if we can get him to come out. Well, it kind of fell out without the dinosaur. I was hoping it would all come out together. It's just like falling apart. Oh, what a fail. It's falling apart. It's supposed to pop out in one solid piece, and then you crush it to expose the dinosaur, but that is not at all what happened here. It just kind of fell apart on its way out. I'm just not good at this, apparently. We at least have our figure loose, so let's go ahead and clean him up, and then we'll get this stuff all out of here, and again, check the rest of the set out. And then just like we did last time with the previous Crushivore figure, you just have to push the sand here out of the packaging that we have it in. There's still a little bit in there yet, but I don't think we need it all right now. And then you need to form it into what is supposed to be a piece of chicken for your dinosaur. So there, we kind of have it. The sand is just way too soft for me right now. It's not working so good. And then you basically would get your little Crushivore, and he would bite it and apparently pull it all off the bone. And then he can eat his chicken meal, and I guess that's basically the equivalent of what the entire gimmick is as far as the chicken bone and the sand and all of that fun stuff. And I'd imagine you can do the same thing for the Spinosaurus. If you'd like to try to feed the Spinosaurus the chicken sand stuff, you can. And then as far as the little Crushivores figure goes, you can see it still has like some sludge and slime and stuff on him, but it's basically like a little Snap Squad T-Rex, way smaller. He's got like hair or something on him, but way smaller than the Snap Squads, and equally as adorable, honestly. Really happy to see anything similar to the Snap Squads back, because I was actually a pretty big fan of those figures. But now we've also again got the dino droppings, so let's go ahead and pull the dinosaur poop out. So basically what this is Play-Doh. That's pretty much what I'm getting out of this. So if you were wondering what exactly the material would be that the dino droppings would be made out of, it's pretty much just Play-Doh. So let's push it all in here, or at least as much as we can, and then we'll try to push this together. I don't know if we're supposed to use all of it or not, but I'm thinking not, because we still have some left over outside and it's completely filled inside. We'll just smush it together anyway, remove the excess, and then we'll check out our formed dino droppings. Well, kind of formed. I might have put a little too much in there, but you can basically see we've got dinosaur poop here, again with the Play-Doh that they've included, which it's kind of similar to Play-Doh. It's like maybe a little bit softer, but pretty much the same thing as Play-Doh. I think maybe if we just remove a little bit of this, try that one more time, we might have a better result. So there we go. Definitely looks a little bit better. We still have this kind of like outer seam thing going on here, but I guess we basically have ourselves a little bit of dinosaur poop. And then the only other thing that I think we really need to check out would be the action feature for the Spinosaurus. As I had shown you guys a little bit earlier, you tilt the tail, it moves the sail and the head, and he looks super cute, almost like he's dancing. But then if you push the button, we have a chomping action feature for our Spinosaurus. I'm not sure why. I expected it to be like an electronic figure with some sounds, but unfortunately it is not. But it does have a pretty cool, very fun biting action feature. As far as a size goes for our Spinosaurus, which I think is the only thing really worth measuring in this set, you're looking at about 13¼ inches, or around 33½ centimeters. And then for a height, the highest point would be the head, just shy of 7½ inches, or 19 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A human being next to our Spinosaurus, but also next to Nash, who you can see is running down there alongside Muldoon. So that gives you a pretty good idea of just how small Nash is next to a Mattel human being, an average Mattel human being. But you can also see that the Spinosaurus, although not gigantic, does still have a pretty fun size to it. And I don't know how many comparisons we would really need for the Spinosaurus, but as far as like a similar style kind of goofy dinosaur figure that has fairly recently released, we've got the Fierce Launchin Dilophosaurus next to the Spinosaurus. And you can see the Spino is definitely a little bit bigger than our Dilophosaurus. And although this is a customized version that I recently had repainted and customized using Marco Makes and Sirat Deck parts, here is a Mattel Spinosaurus, the normal version, next to this version, the new Crushivores version. And obviously you can see it's nowhere near the size of your average Mattel Spinosaurus, but still really cool looking and still really quite nicely sized for what it is. So this brand new Mattel Jurassic World, aka Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus Crushivores set is actually pretty darn fun. If you liked the original Crushivores figure that I had reviewed, this set is, you know, that, but like amped up drastically, because you get a whole lot more with this set. Not only do you have the same Crushivores type of a release with the little dinosaur, which in this case I think might always be the T-Rex. I don't think you can get different ones like you could if you ordered the regular Crushivores, where it's just basically random as far as what you get. But not only do you have that little Crushivores figure, you also have the same gimmick with the bone and the chicken that you can create using the sand and stuff. All of the stuff you found in the first Crushivores release. On top of that, though, this time around you have dinosaur droppings, as you can create some dino poop for your Spinosaurus, which is pretty unique, pretty interesting, and definitely something that I'm certain kids would enjoy. The highlights for me of this set, though, would definitely be the fact that we have a Nash figure included, as well as the satellite phone. I think those are just such a nice little touch on the part of Mattel, and something that I wasn't expecting at all. So it was such a pleasant surprise, and honestly just has me so much more hyped for this set, than I was previously. I was excited about the Spinosaurus, but the inclusion of a small Nash and the satellite phone is just awesome. But on top of that, again, you do have that very cool Spino, and even though the Spinosaurus is very clearly a really neat kind of exaggerated version, and doesn't, of course, look like the Jurassic Park 3 Spino, it's basically what I would expect for a Crushivores style release, sporting all sorts of exaggerated proportions and a really cool sculpt, very highly detailed sculpt with some fun articulation and a fun action feature. So as a whole, I really recommend picking this set up if you are a fan of these kind of, more like younger oriented or younger aimed sort of exaggerated dinosaur sets. This is one of the best I think Mattel has released so far, at least as far as I'm concerned. It's definitely one of my favorites of this type that Mattel has released. So if you are interested, I will include a link in the description to where you can purchase this on Amazon. Unfortunately, it's like $35, so it is a little expensive, I would say, for something like this, but it's still a really cool set, and I do not regret my purchase whatsoever. But if you are interested, check the link in the description, go grab this super cool Spino, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.